Morning, everyone. Many of you will know me and will have suffered my speaking before, so forgive me for loading that on you first thing on a Friday morning. But what I wanted to do is to update you on something which the cluster's been working towards over the last 6 to 9 months, I suppose, and came out of our sort of rethink of our purpose and what we do last year. So the headline or the bottom line up front is, we're looking to start providing cluster members and cybersecurity specialists into a range of mentoring schemes at the sort of undergraduate level. This is a little bit of background about it, why we want to do it, and how to get involved for those that are interested. So just moving on. Structure I'm just going to go through is a little bit just to put it in the regional context. Why is this important in the Southwest? Why is this a good mission for us to carry out? Then I'm going to give you very high level around mentoring. Some of you I know will have mentored or been menteed at some point in your career. So I don't wish to teach people things that they already know, but certainly just to get us all on a baseline. It's not specific to a particular scheme or particular dates yet, because we have some options, and I'll explain those as we go through. But the idea is for those that maybe aren't familiar with mentoring, to give you a sense of what's involved. What do you need to be able to do it? What sort of support do you get, and what does it look like in terms of commitment? And then towards the end of that, we'll come to the what's the way ahead for us as a cluster, and there'll be plenty of time for questions and discussion thereafter. And certainly, I'll be looking to understand those people that are already involved in this, and whether actually there are other routes we should consider, as well as the ones I'm going to discuss. So firstly, then, just to reflect on how this connects to our purpose as a cluster. For those that have had a long-standing relationship with the cluster, they'll know that about 12, 18 months ago, we started to reconsider our position in the marketplace, if you like, in view of a world in which there were a lot of other organizations with either touching on security or cybersecurity specifically, and defining what is for us our mission and the most important things that we can do in our region. This came to that grid that you see in front of you, the sort of 4 channels of activities. And you'll notice that on the right-hand side, provide mentoring services was one that the membership at the time, and those people that were engaged in the strategy workshops that we did, thought was really important. The objective to support cyber professionals within our region at all levels of their career. So not just down at the start, which is where I'm going to focus a little bit today. But that's very much the foundations for what else we might do in this space as we move forward. And clearly the idea is to build a stronger community. The cluster is all around the community of cyber professionals and also those that are interested in cyber and related to it. And if we can start to grow that at the grassroots, then clearly that should expand this community and make it more valuable and worthwhile to all participants. So most of us live in the Southwest. That's why we're here, and we know the pros and cons and the benefits of where we live, but also maybe not quite so much detailed around some of the challenges that the region faces. So particularly, there's just a couple of data points here from the cyber sectoral analysis and also the State of the Nation, which is the social mobility report that's done. The sources are on the slides, and I'm sure these will be shared anyway. But fundamentally, the Southwest is perceived as having a relatively high percentage of cyber businesses for its region compared across the UK, as you can see in that top right-hand picture. But the reality is that actually most of those are concentrated around that Bristol and Bath hotspot and expanding up towards Cheltenham and Gloucester for well-known reasons. And that actually skews the picture of Southwest and cyber and the cyber industry in our region. And interestingly, the second picture on the top left is what they call the travel to work region, i.e. how many are within 50 miles of someone's ability to go to work. And you'll see that the light shading shows how sparse that is when you start to go further west. Beyond that, I think we also know that we have some areas of actually very high social and economic deprivation, equaling the other areas and regions that are perhaps more well known for it across the country. And interestingly, also some of the lowest occupational mobility rates. And the data set on here, which shows Cornwall in red, but even the other areas of our region in that sort of salmon pink, show that that's the chances of having a professional position within a type of role within the region, which is relatively low. And certainly Cornwall clearly is on the par with some of the more well-known industrially sort of depressed areas of the country. So there's a lot to go at in our region. And that sort of, I don't wish to be pessimistic about it, but that's a great opportunity in my mind, because actually we need to change these figures. And at least within our industry and within cyber, a growing and dynamic profession, we can try and improve these positions so that we do see people moving into cyber careers in our region. We do see people achieving professional roles rather than those that maybe don't fulfill their potential. The other part, of course, is that we also have at least three, and I highlight these three because these are the three I've spoken to, but at least three universities who are world class, and all of them are offering either computer science or cybersecurity or both courses, and have very healthy cohorts of students going through them, all with ambitions to join the industry. And for many, some are actually regionally based as well and have gone to universities within their own home regions and would like to stay there and find work going forward as well. So this is an opportunity really for us to lean into these cohorts to help them understand the industry that they're seeking to join, to develop connections, foster ambition, and maybe that will either be help those people into work, or it will at least provide maybe a lifelong connection for mentoring and menteeship that will help them through their careers. So where I've got to so far is I've discussed with all of those universities, and we've chosen the universities because we've had to be realistic around what we can manage as a cluster. We're a voluntary organisation, and people lean in and lean out as and when they can. And we're really key that we want this to work, but we want to make sure that we have the right level of quality around how the system is run, that there's enough structure to provide the relevant level of oversight and safety through the process, and most importantly, to reduce the management on ourselves. And we're keen, if possible, to find somebody amongst the cluster who might be happy to lean in a bit here and help from a coordination perspective. And literally, that's really just around people to connect them with the right university schemes, etc., and to provide some data and reporting, so that actually, while I'm kicking this off, I need to transition on to try and do other things for the cluster, and would rather not get way down in this. So if there's somebody out there that's thinking, oh, I'm interested in this, then please do get in touch. So we're looking at the moment through existing schemes and well-structured organisations. These are the people I've spoken to. There's a slight difference. So Exeter and Plymouth both have quite well-established careers offices and mentoring schemes. They tend to be more general. So it's around general careers, general development, how to get jobs, CVs, life after university, those sorts of conversations. But each of them does have some specific industry schemes that they've set up with industry partners. In Bournemouth, they don't yet have this as a formalized process, but actually the cybersecurity pathway leader, so it's the head of faculty for the cyber courses, is extremely keen to develop it. And he's happy to run a pilot with their careers service and with their university placement team to try and get this much more focused on cyber and less general. So there is the opportunity in both Exeter and Plymouth, however, that obviously in that matching piece between mentor and mentee, they will try and achieve the right match, so that if there are people from computer science and cyber that are looking for mentorship, there'll be an element of general to it, but there might also therefore be an element of cyber specific or industry specific knowledge as well. At the moment, all are really keen to work with us, and I think my challenge is going to be to manage expectations, because I don't know how many people we have in the cluster and related to the cluster that are willing to support this. I don't want us to go too fast, and clearly, certain people will be better matched to different universities. So at the moment, I'm regularly getting emails. How's it getting on? What's the next step with the cluster? They're keen to get people into their schemes, and I think this session today is to bring people up to speed and then to gather that interest from the cluster. Okay, just briefly then, what is mentoring and what's it like? I think we all know what mentoring is in terms of the overall concept of it. I think it's the purpose of these programs is around aspiration raising and improving employability through giving real career advice about what the industry is like, how to get into it, how to move through it, what the pathways are, what the progression is like, and so on and so forth. What's the qualification you use as a mentor? The only qualification you need is professional experience, relevant experience in your field, and your ability to provide valuable insights and guidance. And that's the entry piece. As we move forward with us, for those people that go forward to this, there is some level of validation of your professional experience, which checking your LinkedIn, looking on your business listings, etc. But that's the level of sort of checking that takes place. But if you feel you're confident to do this and have something to provide, then put yourself forward. I would say you won't be thrown in at the deep end. The great benefit about going with established partners is that they have training schemes, and they give you both training at the front and a series of events and ongoing contact from the university scheme operations team to make sure that you're feeling supported through it. And I think that makes it a very accessible route into getting into this if you've not done it before. Just as a quick highlight, and I scamper through this, what sort of training do you get? Helping people how to do these things, how to set the plan and the objectives for mentoring sessions so that they actually achieve something and aren't too rambling, how to communicate, how is the most effective ways to communicate in terms of that mentoring relationship, and then also providing you with that support going forward. They also give you feedback techniques so that you understand how to provide guidance without it being harshly critical, and also how to help them understand how to learn from the experience that you're sharing. And then also some structure. It's not just a random conversation. Mentoring, if it's going to provide its maximum benefit, needs to be led amongst a structured path. That's not all done by you, by the way. And most of the universities I've spoken to, they're very clear that the onus on planning and keeping scheduling going is placed upon the mentee rather than the mentor. What is the commitment required, and what do you need to bring to the party? So the commitment is relatively little, I think, at least to start with, unless you wish to do more. And most universities run 2 schemes a year, spanning around 6 months. One starts normally in the autumn and runs through till spring. One starts in spring and runs through till summer. They like to see that over that 6-month period, there's at least 4 sessions, and you can do more, and they generally are about an hour's duration. You need to be able to bring some communication skills, but as I've just said, they will help and train you and support you in maybe honing some of those that are most appropriate for mentoring. And of course, the most key factor is the willingness to share and your experience and your learning. And that's quite a high level of transparency and trust, because the most benefit for mentees often comes from the mistakes you've made and the missteps through our careers and lives, so that they can learn from our experience. So that is important too. But there's lots of benefits in it for us if we do this as well. Clearly, there's a social value element to it in terms of providing something which is freely given and provides benefit to others in developing their careers. But you will also develop your own skills. We've just touched on the training and the things you need to do to be a mentor. So if like me, you're not a great listener, then that's a skill you're going to really develop, because that's as important as sharing your experience. How can it be done? Flexible. They're not really they're prescriptive around that. Obviously, because of geography and timing, Teams calls and the like are often used, but meet up in person is perfectly permissible and able. And actually, some of the universities provide facilities once a month where you can drop in and use their facilities, their meeting rooms and the like, to meet with your mentees. So that's a quick intro, really. In terms of what are we thinking of doing? Well, I would like us to get to an element of being able to commit some mentors to some of these schemes with a view to them starting in the spring, so March or April next year through till around July. And to do that and to kick it off, what I've done is I've set up a little form, Microsoft form, as per this. I'm going to give you the QR code in a second. And it's really just an expression of interest. You're not signing up for the guard room on this one yet. There's no commitment at this stage, but just to say, are you interested? What can you bring? What sort of things? Which universities would you like to work with, and so on and so forth. But also other ideas, okay? Because this has been developed so far in a bit of a bubble within the cluster leadership. But I'd really like to expand that to have more perspectives from other people. And as I said, I'm also really looking for people that would be interested in helping support and run this a little bit as well. So the timeline's a little bit mixed, but so we'll see what the interest comes back, and I'll then do an initial matching, come back to the individuals who have submitted your interest and tell you what I'm thinking, and then we'll try and that connection with a relevant university and try and take it forward from there. I'd see this first cycle very much as a pilot. We're not looking for huge numbers, even though there is a lot of demand. And speaking to Bournemouth University last week, they've got over 10 people who would literally bite our hands off to start talking to people on this scheme, and that's before I've touched on the others. So there isn't any pressure to do this, but clearly, if you're interested, do share it with both your colleagues and also with your network as well. I'm going to add I haven't put it on yet, but I will add on to the form just to put in there if you've forwarded it to anybody else, just to let us know, so that if you then come back to if they then come to us, I know where that relationship comes from. That would be really appreciated. So to access that sort of expression of interest, you can use this QR code. I know Jeff will send out links and whatever else after the event. But if you want to get straight on it, it should work. And if it doesn't, let me know in the chat or send me an email, which is on the form, actually. So actually, I'll tell you what that is, which is development@southwestcsc.org. If you have any problems with that. So that's development@southwestcsc.org. Okay, I'm going to stop there.